Now I am. Hi, Mylana. Hi, Maroot Mouse. Here comes my raid with my new bestie for the resty, Nicole. Hi, guys. Welcome to the I've Been Framed raid train. I am because of Wheezy. So, anybody that's new to me, I'm not usually hanging with this crowd, but I've been hanging with you guys today and I've been having a blast. And it looks like a lot of people fell off the train, but whatever. I was an only child, I was a theater kid. We got this for 45 minutes. I am here to entertain you. Hi, Haley. How are you? So, anybody that's new to me, Antiques from Karen, I am Jan. Jan sells Karen's vintage goodness. Everything is inherited. I don't source. This has been going on for 8 years now. I took 2 years off because I had some medical woman stuff, but now all of those parts have been removed and I feel fabulous. So that's what we're doing. So my journey started on YouTube because COVID happened and I strapped a camera to my chest and I started going through my mother's estate. And all these people started following me and they were like, at 16 minutes 43 seconds, that is Fenton Pernier milk glass whatever. And I've been learning ever since. They convinced me to go live and they got up all in my chat. There's my Sherry right there. Sherry has been following me for 8 years and still comes back to the Jan show. But anyway, I have screenshots of the host of this tray saying that rules schmools and that the rules are very loose around here. So I literally ported everything that was in my active inventory into my buy it now. So if you are interested in anything, just let me know. Now, what I do, you guys, if I have seen a seller and I love them and I want to buy from them or have bought in them, what I do here is I make them a moderator. So follow my mods. Those are the people that I know. This is Stacy's Vintage Comfort is the host of this train. And I'm going to try to bring it back to the theme. I do have a lot of stuff, but I've also learned a lot of stuff about artwork. And I got very, very overwhelmed today as I was going through artwork because I haven't touched it. So it's been moving from my mom's estate. It moved out here, it's out in the barn, and I have not done anything with artwork. So I started pulling things up and cleaning them and looking them up and doing research. And some of it is extremely valuable and needs more research. And some of it is, well, I don't know. But talking about artwork and things that need to be framed. That's what we're doing. Oh, that's what I was doing. So, the first thing you want to do, because I know most of you are resellers, you need a loop. You need a loop. This is very, very important. I know that it's for jewelry, but for artwork, you need a loop. So, the first thing you do when you pick up artwork, okay, is you look at the frame. This is a beautiful old frame. Now, you want to know, well, is it carved? Is it valuable? How did they do it? A lot of times, if you see a miter in the corner, that's a good place to look. And you can see if things are chipped off. And if it's carved, you're just going to see wood all the way through, right? But if it's got some chippy spots, it's usually composition. Composition, they took like putty stuff and they formed it and used little like dental tools to sculpture the stuff onto the frame. This is 100% a composition frame. However, this one is very cool because it has some depth to it. So there's a shadow box back there. There's a velvet mat. It is professionally matted. Very nice. Now, here's the next thing you learn. And when I'm done with my dissertation, I have explicit content on because I am totally brain to mouth. And I say a lot of the stuff that you guys are thinking and never say. Kind of like when you're invited to a train and you're watching the train and you're like, yeah, there's 35 people. And then as the train gets closer to you, there's like 6. You're like, it's freedom to do whatever the hell you want, right? You went to art school? I am so excited. So here's the other indication. You see that Phillips head screw? If it's old, you are not going to find Phillips head screws. However, this new framing can be done with Phillips head screws. Old stuff was mostly done with nails. And the nails at this point would be bent and they would be rusty and things like that. They didn't teach you this in school? My. This is all of the random, useless, well, I can't say it's useless, knowledge that I have acquired. Now, I can't show you with the camera, but when I look through the loop at this with, I think this is 35 magnification. It's a jewelry loop. So whatever magnification a jewelry loop does. So if you look through it and you see distinct pinpoint dots, it's a print. That's it. End of list. It's a print. Now, if it's in a nice frame, if it's framed nicely, if it's matted nicely, if it has a lot of appeal, fantastic. People can love it and everything else, but it's not a place to hide your money, which is what my mother did. My mother, every time she had money, bought shit. Tons of shit. Auctions, flea markets, garage sales, everything. She had 3 antique booths at the antique co-op and they were full. All right, I should run something. Hold on, let's run something. Cuz I did upload a couple of things. So let's look at this one. So this one is a basic print with a beautiful composition frame. And it is a botanical, still life, floral, very, very pretty, Gilded Age. This is gilt. That's what they're talking about. And not going to run it for 30 seconds. But I'll tell you what, you guys, your prices were awfully low today. Awfully low. So that is this one. So if you learn the difference between the quality of stuff, and I know, and I can't do that. I can't. Why are things ringing? I don't know who that is. I'm supposed to silence stuff. Yes. So you're looking for quality. You're looking for value in that kind of stuff. Let me show you another one. I thought that this was very interesting. You're going to be like, Jan, that's not what we're doing on the train today. But this is one of the things. So this one is an original. Right? This one is an actual original. And why do I know that? Because I used my loop. And I looked through my loop and I could actually see the strokes of the brush. I could see the strokes of the brush on the signature. So unfortunately, you got a little glass glare. There we go. That's not too bad. And then you look at the back and you turn it around. This is one of the old ways that they would do it. You would see copper wire. You can see the wood through the frame. You can see the nails going into the wood, and you can actually tell by the kind of nails that they had in the wood on how old it is. Now the frame doesn't always go with the print, but this one is actually stained wood. You can see it on the back, and then you can see the old artist mark. Isn't that cool? Don't know if you guys are in the market for this, but I'm going to run it anyway. Sherry, thank you, my love. Isn't it gorgeous? You got local pickup on, right, girl? Because you're coming to see me. Sherry, my wonderful friend, this is a beautiful piece of my mother's history going to you. I appreciate you so much. All right, let me show you a couple of other things that I loaded, and then we're going to do random pulls and talk about them. Because why not? This one. Where did it go? Oh, it's hidden. So here's another example of an older frame. You look at the frame, there's no composition. This is carved. There is some damage to the frame. And this one is a print. It's not an oil, not a watercolor, nothing like that. It's a print. The girl he left behind. Don't really understand the story here, but the most important thing is there's like 800 frames here. Some of them she picked up just because of the frame. Here's the back. So a lithograph is another name for print. It depends on how they did the printing. So the coolest stuff, let me run this one in case anybody's interested. So the coolest stuff that you get into is when they did photogravure or plates. So you guys might be watching some of these sellers and they're pulling these really, really old books that are falling apart. And inside the books, you've got that paper thin pages, and then you have illustrations that are on like a glossy type of paper. They actually either carved it in wood in order to do that, or they carved it in metal. And they actually made the plate in order to put the illustration on the table. There's some really cool documentaries on YouTube about it. Amazing stuff. But heliogravure is a keyword you want to look up. Photogravure is a word you want to look up, and it's all old, like more than 100 years old. But a lithograph and a print are pretty much the same thing. This was very cool because, you know, this stuff, they're trying to take away our rights now. But to find this is from the 1970s. The gun that won the West, Winchester Repeating Arms Company. It's a beer sign. Look at, you can see all my minis back there. Don't pay attention to the minis. So let me get a reflective thing here so you can see it. You can also push the picture. But if we do like this for the mirror, you can see that it's an amazing piece. And it's a wooden frame. And we look at the back of it. And you see staples. That doesn't mean it's new, but it's definitely not an antique. This is an amazing one. The last one, I looked this up on WorthPoint. The last one sold for close to $150. I was like, go mom. That's amazing. So that one's pretty hard to find, in case anyone is interested. Squirrely finds. That's where we're going next. Allow to moderate. My mom, we had a really tumultuous relationship, because, let's be honest, I've been at this for 8 years. Clearly, she was a hoarder. She wasn't a dirty hoarder. She collected nostalgia. And all I saw was just chaos, But as the years have gone by, I have learned so much by going through my mom's stuff. Let me pin this one. Haley wants me to run that again. I'm going to run that again. Where did it go? Where did I put it? Oh, back here. This one's amazing. Running for you, Miss Haley. Anybody have a chance to look it up? Haley, thank you so much for your bid. There is some amazing stuff in this barn, you guys. There's oil paintings. Good thing Babes isn't watching. First purchase, I get to ring a bell. Where's my bell? Where is my bell? There's a framed art. First purchase from Miss Haley. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next lesson. Here we go. We're going to do this one. You guys keep me honest. Let's watch the time. Thank you. This is the first time I've touched this stuff. And Sherry's been here the longest, so she can tell you. All right, we're going to talk about this one now. So this one is, it's a specific artist. It's that all of that is in the description. But if you look, you see the shine in the light. People will see that and they'll go, "Oh my God, it's a painting. It's worth hundreds of dollars." Not really. Probably not. But this stuff is coming back in style. So originally, like 6 or 7 years ago, when I started learning about this, it was like, oh, it's an oleograph. Oh, it's an oleograph. Fake painting. Now, people want paintings. They want things to look textured. So what they did, this is a print of a famous oil painting, and we'll talk about the frame next. This is a print of a famous oil painting, and oleographs, they would take a special varnish and they would make a texture. Now, if you look at this one, you can't find a repeating pattern. So this is a print that they took time with. It wasn't machined. The oleograph was done by hand in order to make this look more like a painting. So if you go, and this is another thing with your loop. So if I look at this with a loop, it's got the dots. It's a print. But the textures, because they're not consistent, this was oiled on purpose to make it a painting. Now let's look at the frame. The frame is a wood frame. And if we look real close at that corner, you see the pink? Where the pink is chipping off? That's how you know that it's a composite frame. Wooden carved frames, way more valuable. However, the composite frames, if they're done in a nice way, this one's like, what do you call this? Kind of Art Deco-ish. It's got like a navy chippy paint in the background. And then if you look at the back, it's just a piece of like board is done on the oleograph. There's no glass in this one. And they've got the hanger needs to be adjusted very clearly. But People love this beautiful stuff now. Liz, how are you? So we're going to run this one just in case. Haley just got the coolest freaking sign. Babes is going to be jealous. I literally pulled it out of the barn and he didn't get to see it. He probably would have wanted it in his barn. All right, what else you guys want to know? Let's check just in case, see if anybody pre-bid on anything. No pre-bids. There's all kinds of stuff in the buy it now. We still have 25 minutes. Here is, this one's cool. This one's a cool theme. Cool theme, cool frame. I got some other frames to show you, but I'm not going to run them because I need to do more research on them. This one has that very cool, like, how do they do that? They like scratch it to make it look vintage. It's just a basic pine mitered frame, but it's nice. It's appealing. It's a nice color. The matting is done really well. It's professionally matted. This one is a beautiful quality print. It is not a watercolor. It is a print of a watercolor. Why do I know it's a print? Because I used my loupe and I looked through it and it's got all of the little pin dots all the way around. But everybody has been into ducks. I don't know if it's a duck. I don't know if it's a goose. I don't know if it's a shorebird. It doesn't, there's a thing about the artist on the back. But this one's very nice. And it has, you can tell by the glare here. You see how it's not like a mirror? It's like, it's more of a museum glass. So museum glass is more expensive and it has less glare. And when people mat like needlepoint or cross stitch or anything like that, they want to go for the museum glass that doesn't have the glare. Because the regular glass is like cheap stuff. This one is another oleograph. Also done really, really well. It's just a little tiny one. I'm like in teacher mode here instead of, you know, ask some of these followers here that are coming in. I'm usually off the rails. So I'm behaving really well. This one is also very, very old. See the textures? Now this one really, really looks like a painting when you look really close. But if you use the loupe and you look through, it's just a print. And they varnished over the top of it. So this is just a little wooden frame. The wood is darker, so it's probably maple or something along those lines. The nail heads, you can see the top of the nail heads. It's pretty old. Not professionally matted, just jammed in there with nails. Very, very thin little frame. This one is cute. I could see this one near somebody's vignette or their Crocs or something like that. That looks very farmhouse to me. And it's also got the vanity in the back and a little compact mirror. So this is a cheaper quality one, but it's got the oleograph on it. All right, now I got to show you some of the old stuff that I found. This stuff is very cool. And I'm still going through it, you guys. There is so much to go through in this barn. It's insane. Look at this one. This one is ancient. This is a very old photograph of a dapper looking dude on a basic wood frame. You can see the nails. You can see the very sophisticated. Very sophisticated. Do I have any cowboys or horses, salt and pepper shakers? Not that I've seen, but there's still probably about 25% of the barn here that I haven't I haven't gone through. I know, Sherry, and I was doing that on some of them, and some of them my mom had notes on. This one's running. There's a close up of the frame. It's got a couple of little chippies in it. It's a very old, large black and white photo of a fancy man. And then things started getting older. Here was the next one that I found. This one is all kinds of professionally framed. 20 minutes to go. Thank you, Miss Stacy, for keeping me on task. So this is composers. Beethoven. Oh, thanks, Jen. I didn't even see you come in. Beethoven. Who's the other guy? Whoever these guys are, these are their initials. KIB. Did you run Art 007? I don't know. I will take a look and I will run it. This is also a print. This is a nice, chippy, old wooden frame. All this stuff is vintage or antique. And this one looks like she took it somewhere to have it professionally done. Now, eventually, she got her own mat cutter, which there are 3 of them here, local pickup only. And she started framing her own stuff. But originally, she really got into the frames and she started, that's running, and she started framing her own stuff. And she started putting it on consignment. There were a couple of local diners that they would do like, they'd have like the teapots and the teacups up along the wall, and they would have artwork all over the place. And she would put her little, she would just use all these frames and mat them, and she'd make like, $25 to $50 a piece. Go, Mom. All right, 007. Let me show you that one. 007, we did run it, but it's still available. This one is a very old wooden frame, chippy paint, very famous artist, and it is an oleograph. I mean, her knowledge was just insane, absolutely insane. Here's the back of it. This is really, really beautiful. And this is not a machined oleograph. This one somebody did on their own. So this was oleograph. This was oiled by hand. And that one's running. Thank you, Alicia Yates. So now that you guys got me doing art, I am going to keep looking through this barn and loading stuff. Thank you so much for your first purchase. I appreciate you. Where's my bell? I need my bell. It's back up here. I'm always first purchase. What time are we at? 4:28. So you guys are with me for 15 more minutes. What else do you want to learn about artwork? You want to learn stuff? I can teach you stuff. Let's look at these 2. These 2 are randoms. So there are 2 of them here. This is the first one. Isn't that cool? I love the way these look. So they're a very thin gold wooden frame. The black matting behind it is very textured. Let's see if there's a way to show it. Hang on, let me turn on the spotlight. Because now they do all those cheap looking mats. See the texture on the mat in there? You do. I can't wait. I want to hit 1,000 sales before I do my first mini show. It does make that old car pop. This is also a print. I don't want to do minis to get to 1,000. I want 1,000 actual things to go. Here's what it says on the back. The Pittsford Picture Framing Company copy of print in Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. So that is this one. Going to do a random pull. This is a print. And there's one that is similar to it in the same frame. These are gorgeous. She had such an eye. You guys, I have bins of stuff to be framed. Tons of it. Yeah. And this is what started it. When Wheezy asked, she was like, they're looking for somebody to fill a slot for a framed raid train. I was like, I need to do that. This one looks like a watercolor to me. It's really, really beautiful. There's the signature on it. Take a trip, Haley. We could do a private show. I am so willing to do that with people. If I knew that everybody I would invite people. In fact, I can put this out there. I am more than willing to do a private show that people promise to put local pickup only to come pick stuff out, because there is stuff here that the shipping would just be absolutely insane. So this one matches that other one. It's got the same textured mat in there. Oh, good. Oh, good. This one's running. These are, in fact, if anybody is really interested in these, I'll do them both for $25 because they could ship together. I'm going to try again just in case, because they're very, very cool. Thank you, Sherry. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. They can't be separated. I mean, she meant for them to be together. Sherry, you're the best, girl. I love it. Love it. Here's another random. This one is a still life of fruit and vegetables. Let me see. Let me get my loop. That is a print. Not a watercolor, not a painting. Beautifully framed. Frame is gorgeous. Mitered wood. Chippy on the outside. It's got the gold on the inside. It is professionally framed. Sealed on the back. No watermarks. That's an older framing screw. But this one is very, very nice. That one's running. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining me. We are on the I've Been Framed raid train, hosted by Stacy's Vintage Comforts, or Stacy's Comfort Vintage, one of the two. Where is she? She might be getting ready. I know we're going into Squirrely Finds after this. All right, you guys, this one I swore I was going to do more research on, but I'm going to show you anyway. Oh, there she is. Stacy's Vintage Comfort. You see the texture in this? I think this is an antique, which is very, very confusing to me, because if you do a screenshot and Google Lens this thing, I was looking them up on WorthPoint, and there were some of them that went for over $1,000, and it didn't have anything to do with the frame. And then I started looking a little closer, and they had the ones that went for 1,000. They had actual jewels on there. There are no jewels on here. So then I took a look at this, and it is a print, sort of. It's very, very difficult for me to ascertain this one. So some areas of it look like it's pinprick, and then other areas is like it was gold leafed afterwards. I think that there's like multiple layers to this. The frame is absolutely ancient, completely hand carved. I forget what this picture is called. I started to write it down. It's in my drafts. There is a little bit. I know. You should see some of the stuff here, Liz. I'm telling you, you need to drive here. But this one is definitely an antique. Thank you, Haley. That is who she is. Our Lady of Perpetual Help. Yes. So I think this is an antique. Regardless, it's more than worth $25. Could be worth like 500 or something like that, but I will end up down a rabbit hole so freaking far. Lazy Hand Farm, great grab. Way to get into it. That is coming to you. First purchase. I wish I had more history on some of this stuff. Some of the stuff I don't know if it's lowest I'm seeing is 30. Yeah, no. When you get this in your hands, it's very difficult to see. This is ancient. Yep. This is really, really ancient. Amazing pickup. So happy for you. All right, this is a local artist. I don't know if she's still alive. Her name is Diane Dangle. I have many, almost a dozen Diane Dangle actual original oil paintings. If anyone is interested, send me a message and we'll figure something out with Whatnot's shipping and stuff like that. But I'm terrified to put them into a show. This one is a print of one of her famous paintings. It's just a nice basic wood frame. Looks much newer because it's got the little, oh no, wait a minute. This is my mother. These are called glacier points. I have jars of glacier points. So she put this in here. She picked this frame. She put the little hooks in. And this was probably one of her consignment pieces. So if anybody knows who Diane Dangle is, that is one of her prints, not an original. That's a print with a frame. But I have some of her oil paintings. You guys have about 7 minutes with me. We're going to keep pulling a couple of things out just for educational purposes. Here's another old one. I don't even know what to call this one. Now there is some damage here. See that damage on it? But it's like painted on some kind of plastic. This is an old, pardon me, Genesee beer sign. I don't even see beer. But these are famous horses. You have to Google Lens it to get it. But they're famous horses. I have no idea what this is painted on, but it's from the 40s or 50s. Thank you, Nicole. And they don't come around very often. So if you have a friend of the family or something that collects old beer stuff, Genesee beer. Yes. Thank you. That's the word. Lipizzan. Lipizzan team, Genesee beer, Lipizzan team horses. We have another one somewhere. This one is a print. Very old one. Very old frame. Really? You grew up in New York? Because Rochester, New York is where I grew up, and that's where Genesee beer is. This is a really beautiful one. This is 3 generations. Mother, daughter, grandbaby. Really? Who knew? The frame is old. There's the back of the frame. It's got the old rusty nails in it. There's some chipping going on in here. It's got the nice museum glass that's on it. It is such a small world. And this one's running. Yeah, anybody that wants to do local pickup and wants to make a trip here, bring a trailer. Bring a trailer. Everything we will do, if you buy anything from the barn, we'll do all the transactions through Whatnot, because Whatnot is my primary platform now. And I like not having to create invoices through PayPal. All right, let me see what else we got. We only have a little bit of time left. I have some very old brass frames. If anybody has any knowledge about brass frames, I want to do more research on them. So this is just a show and tell to show you these brass frames. They are gorgeous. Look at all the detail on it. And it's got the velvet back in it. This is just something that she cut out of somewhere. It's a Norman Rockwell piece of paper. But I'm trying to learn about the frames and all of that stuff all over the frames. And then here's another one. I probably won't see one of these again. I haven't been able to find anything about it. 2 minutes. The last thing you're going to see. This is an actual antique. And it's wild. So you come back here on the back. And this little thing, this little door opens. And that slides. Look at this thing. I've never seen anything like this. Google has no idea. Google has no idea what to do with this. So I'm going to have to spend some time with ChatGPT on this one. But oh my God, the intricacies of this. Never seen anything like it. So gorgeous. All right, you guys, thank you for spending time with me. We are going to get ready to go see Squirrely Finds. Clicking my pre-bids button. I don't see anything there. Stay on the train, you guys. The rules are loose. I have screenshots that the host said this. The rules are loose, so they have more than just framed stuff. Thank you, Sherry, so much. People are doing plates I've seen people pull out pretty much anything that you can put on a wall or put it against the wall in a cabinet. Yeah, I got to do some research on that. He's pretty freaking cool. Aw, thank you, Haley. I'm going to be doing a mini show soon. I don't know when, but I want to. All right, we're going to go to Squirrely's Finds. She's got 8 people. You guys, when you get there, drop a whole bunch of emojis in the chat because it gets a seller excited when a whole bunch of activity instead of the just join, just whatever emojis you want, and just stay a couple of minutes. Even if you're not going to stick around, it really helps get rid of the anxiousness when a seller is live. All right, let's go. We don't want to be late.